We're going to first of all have the video, and then we'll have the conversation. Thanks.
For and empower refugee claimants by providing physical, emotional, and community support as they seek to rebuild their lives in Canada. We operate 2 transitional homes in the Fraser Valley. We help families, individuals, couples, as they seek to navigate the immigration system, and it's our joy to walk alongside these amazing people who have endured so much and are looking to rebuild their lives in Canada. The type of refugees that we help are called refugee claimants. They leave their countries for fear of their lives being taken from them. Many have fled from religious persecution, political persecution, areas of race. They come to Canada to claim asylum. Unfortunately, the only way to do so is once you are already inside Canada. So they can come to a port of entry, such as an airport. Once they have put in their claim, there are many different steps that they need to follow in order to be able to stay in the country. They will have to have a hearing, and at that hearing, they have to be able to prove 2 specific things. Number 1, that their lives were in imminent danger, and secondly, that there was nowhere else in their country they could live and be safe. We have the privilege of serving these wonderful, brave people who have come to start a better life. But their journey is not easy. They need all kinds of supports. Many of them come with only what they have in hand, only what they could grab at the last minute before having to run for their lives. So what can a refugee claimant individual or family expect when they come to Inasmuch Community Society? They can expect a warm, caring group of people who want to help them navigate their journey in Canada. Each family or individual gets their own room with shared accommodations of kitchen, laundry. They get a weekly food basket from a local company containing lots of fresh vegetables and protein. We provide rides to their immigration check-ins in Vancouver. We help them to find doctors. We help them to get their medicals done. If they have children, we help to get them enrolled in school. We also help with ESL tutoring and classes. We help with them finding their lawyers and preparing for their hearings. We provide spiritual supports. We provide mental supports and a holistic approach so that refugee claimants can learn to thrive in Canada. All of us have gifts, talents, skills, abilities that we can use at Inasmuch. For example, do you know how to cook? Do you enjoy cooking or baking? Many of our residents need help with deciding what to make for dinner because our foods here are very different. And the way we cook in Canada is very different. We would love to have you come and do some kind of a cooking class with our residents. I know they would appreciate it very much. We also have one volunteer who loves to hike, and so he's had the joy of getting to take our residents to show them different parts of our beautiful British Columbia and on hikes and walks. It's so good for their bodies and their mental health. We invite you to use your skills and talents that you find joy in doing to help impact the life of a refugee claimant here in British Columbia.
Welcome, Kelly. We are delighted to have your organization here in our building. So tell us, first of all, what Inasmuch means and how you came about with that name.
I didn't choose it, but the founding couple did. And it's taken from Matthew chapter 25, where Jesus is sharing about the parable of the sheep and the goats. And starting in verse 35, Jesus says, "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothing, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go visit you?" The king will reply, "Truly I tell you, inasmuch as you did for the least of these, you have done it unto me.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about the history or the context of the organization, when it began. I imagine a lot of us may not have heard of Inasmuch. How many staff do you have? How is it funded? And it has an interesting kind of beginning story.
Yeah, so it actually started in 2010, not as an intention to start a ministry at all, but a local couple had crossed the border at Sumas. They were from Guatemala, and they knew no one in Canada. They had no money left after their journey, and they had no place to go. And so the police officer who was trying to assist them a bit knew of a couple in Abbotsford that worked with refugees and had a heart for them, called this couple, and he said, they've got nowhere to go. And this couple said, bring them to us, we'll help them. And this couple stayed with them for about 7 weeks. And during this time, the couple, the predators, just thought, there must be more people out there like this, in this kind of a situation. And so they ended up selling their home, getting a basement suite, and then finding a couple houses that we could rent through the city of Abbotsford that will be tear downs. But in the meantime, we were able to use them. Our staff has grown from 1 full-time to 6 between full-time and part-time. And the video is no longer correct because we had 2 houses and now we have 4. So we've doubled in the last year. We're looking to start another house in Chilliwack in October. We're also hoping to plant houses in the next couple years in Mission and as well in Langley. So we're in a real growth phase. We're funded about 1/4 by the provincial government through the Ministry of Municipal Affairs. We get a little bit of grant money. We get some money when our residents pay the income assistance portion of rent, and the rest is all from foundations or donors. Inasmuch has been a very well-kept secret, which we are now trying to change that because we are positioned to grow because there's an overwhelming number of people coming to Canada this way who've been specifically targeted, and they cannot stay in their country. There's only 2 other organizations doing what we do in this whole Greater Vancouver area, Kinbrace in Vancouver and Journey Home in the Coquitlam, Surrey area. And we help people in the Fraser Valley. So we're the only transition housing for refugee claimants in this whole area.
I should maybe also mention how Inasmuch came to us is that when Brad, our lead pastor, began with us, he had gone to, I don't know what kind of a lunch or breakfast or something. He was sitting next to the director of the Abbotsford Foundation, which gives grants to lots of different nonprofits. And he said, I'm new in town, who should I know about? And she said, you should know about Inasmuch. And that's how they have ended up here. And we feel like God was at work in that.
Yeah, our office had been in the living room of one of the houses, and that worked fine when we had 1 or 2 staff, but with 6, we were working mostly from home offices and very disjointed, so it's such a humongous blessing for us to be able to work here all together and have a beautiful big meeting room, which we've already filled up a couple times in the last 2 weeks as a gathering space. So thank you so much for having us.
Services offered, I mean, the video kind of mentioned a number of the things that you do. Are there other services that you would like to tell us about or that you would dream of having?
So yeah, the video did cover some of the things. I would say what we do is called wraparound services. So people come to us literally with what they can carry. I've seen as little as 2 garbage bags and a diaper-sized box for 5 people. The woman was very pregnant as well and had nothing for the baby. So when we take them into our housing, they not only get a safe place to stay, because they're in hiding, you won't find our addresses of our houses online. But we also, when they're ready to move out, we have like an MCC kind of situation going in 3 of the garages of our house. We need a warehouse, that's what we're praying for next, but they can come in and choose everything for their house because they don't know anyone here usually, they don't have any family, and so they've left literally everything behind in their home country, and now after 3 months and they're ready to move on to their own home, we load up a moving truck. We've got 2 ladies moving out this week if any extra hands would like to help with moving. I know it's not that fun, but we do provide great snacks. And so we rent a moving truck, which Northview pays for, and then we load everything, and then we help them move into their next housing. So they come with what they can carry. They leave literally with a moving truck, and that stuff is all just beautiful used items that the community has donated to them.
Sounds fabulous. Tell us maybe just one very brief story, just to kind of give us a sense of who are these people?
Yeah, so I have permission to share this story. We have to be very careful what we say because our people are in hiding, but I do have permission to tell you about Renee and Norma. They were very successful business people in their country, at one time employing over 200 people. Because they were successful, they were targeted by a local cartel who kept extorting money from them. And during COVID, when times got very difficult and there wasn't enough work to keep everybody working, they kept the payroll going anyway. Because of that, they didn't have enough money to pay the cartels what they were asking. And so my friends had cartels showing up at their door, threatening the life of the wife and the son many times. My friend was taken and beaten almost to death and hospitalized for nothing other than being a successful businessman. And then the cartels, when they couldn't get to my friend enough, they kidnapped his brother and his son, who were also involved in the business, and killed their nephew. And at that point, they decided it's time to run. So they got out the maximum amount of money they're allowed to bring into Canada, which is $10,000, left all of their machinery, houses, everything behind, and came with a couple suitcases and lived in Surrey for about 3 months. Didn't know how to navigate the immigration system, didn't know how they would go about claiming asylum, tried a couple organizations there, didn't get the help they needed. And I got the call from a colleague who said, look, this family has some items, but they're heading for the street. They don't have any more money for rent. And so I went with a moving truck and brought them to Inasmuch, and they've been safe there ever since. And that family has actually become our greatest volunteers. They, with their own money, purchased a truck and trailer, and they go around all over the Lower Mainland picking up the furniture that we need for helping families to move out. So our people have a target on their back. That's why they come. It's not other types of refugees like all the Ukrainians or the Afghan refugees. These are specific individuals who the rest of their family is never coming. Usually they will never ever be able to return home because it's not safe for them. And so we also try to create a community. And so this space is going to allow us to continue to do that, because the people they meet here now will have to become like their family. Their families won't be coming. They don't want to come. They were happy in their country, but because they were targeted, they had to come.
You listen to a lot of traumatic stories in your work, and we are grateful for what you are doing. There's also ways that people can be involved. We saw some examples there: cooking, hiking. There's probably all kinds of helping with moving. Kelly is going to be at a table just outside these doors after our worship gathering. So if you would like to talk to her more about the organization, or if at any point you think you might want to be involved in some way with skills that you have, Kelly is there today, or you can contact her any other time. Kelly, we'd like to pray for you and for the ministry. Loving God, we thank you so much for the ministry of Inasmuch. As we've heard this morning, the people they serve have experienced incredible pain and challenges and fear in their life. We thank you for this organization that is giving these individuals hope within our country. We pray that Canada will continue to be a welcoming place for those that live in fear in their own countries. And we thank you for the ways that so many of these individuals have become wonderful contributing members of our society and bring richness to our country and to our communities. I pray for Kelly and for her staff as they continually listen to these stories, that you will also protect their emotional and mental well-being so that they can continue to serve well. And we thank you for this opportunity to hear about Inasmuch, and thank you for Kelly's presence here with us this morning. Amen.